All right. I think we're live officially. Welcome. Hey, Mike. Hey, Chris. Another Chris. Hey, Jeff. Hey, other Mike. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Anders. Hello from the Netherlands. You know, I'd like to go to Europe sometime. I should probably plan a trip eventually. There's a lot to see over there, especially the Netherlands. I think there's like a YouTuber in the Netherlands who does sailing, and he goes through like all the rough seas by himself. Pretty cool. Hey, Kyle. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Hope your business on your end is going well. Today's goal is to have a stream that doesn't stop halfway through, so that would be kind of good. I think I figured it out. If anyone's curious, this is my test today. This little guy is the battery adapter or attachment that extends the battery life on my camera. And you can run USB-C through here as like a pass-through. And that's how I've been using it, even though I don't need it for the battery, but it's just a pass-through for the USB, for the webcam. And I think that was causing all of the delay issues. So and no, Mike, I did not switch to Windows. Windows is still a more exclusive video game platform for me. Yes, still just for video games. But oh well. Off to a better start already. Cool. While we're letting people jump in today, I am going to open some packages from Amazon. I have some stuff that just came in for restocking some materials that I need. And then some cool stuff. I found a way to take basically an SVG, but not an SVG format file. So you can do like graphic design and then be able to import that into Shaper. Now I know like Fusion and some of those other softwares have ability just to import SVG files, which solves that problem. But again, we've discussed why I don't use those softwares currently. So I want to show a solution I found for Shaper, which is really cool because it allows me to, with my experiments, I've been able to get like dimensionally accurate drawings in the graphic design software in the 2D format, import that, and then basically use it in my CAD model, which is super cool. Really good for like text-based stuff or like freeform type of drawings because that's just, Shaper 3D is awful at both of those. It feels like those tools in Shaper 3D were kind of a tack-on feature. All right, so first package, some small magnets. I think these are really small magnets, actually. I think they're like 3 millimeters by 2 millimeters, yeah. So when you order 400, you think you're gonna get a big thing, and it's just like that many is 400 of them. Jeff says, I have used Blender and it works great for SVG import and STL export. Jeff, what are your thoughts on modeling more dimensionally accurate parts? Or like multi-part products that take assembly? Or are you doing like more organic modeling? I'd be curious to know kind of how you use it. Couple pads of little sticky feet. These things actually work really great. I use them in many products. And they're simple, but they do add a little bit better feel to products. And they're really, I bought some that are like not hard. They're a little tacky. Well, they're not even tacky. But they have some grip. So if you have something that needs to be set down on a surface, 3D printed models, even with like nice 3D printed feet, kind of slide a little bit. So that helps keep them in place. All right, so that's the first thing. I'll need to get those sorted in my bins up there. I don't know why I got 4 boxes. I only ordered 4 things. And many of the things just came in 1 box. So we'll see what everything is. Kyle says, can you let us know what is your first product you sold? Where did you sell it? And how'd you get this sale, if any use of ads? Yep, let's talk about that. So for some of you, this is going to be a repeat because I've talked about it ad nauseum before. But my first sale was a DeWalt charger bracket to mount the charger onto the wall. I know they have little screw holes on the back, but I just can never get those screws perfectly aligned or the right distance or even have the screws in the right place or right depth. So all that said, I just made my own bracket. That solves the problem. You can level the bracket and pop it right on. It works great. If I have an example, I actually just shipped out 8. If somebody ordered them from my stream, I don't think so, but I just shipped out your order. I sold 8 packs of 3 to a single person. So I'm hoping maybe they're a small business that uses DeWalt tools and they have like 24 chargers they need to have, you know, on the wall. I don't know. Or they're gifts for maybe people in the office, something like that. But anyway, I put that on Etsy. It was my first product. I put it on Etsy and I did not do any advertising, and it sold within 10 days. I uploaded it on the 4th of January, 2024, and I got my first sale on the 17th. So you guys can do the math. But what I think was interesting for me was that the reason it sold was because it was a good product fit. There were a lot of other people in the market already, and there still are. So I don't get a crazy amount of sales, but it's consistent. Each month I do get sales for it. What I would say is a lot of the solutions that are already out there are really big and bulky, and they're like $15 for a single bracket for one charger. My solution is small, simple, straightforward, and it is $15 for 3 of them. And I targeted the chargers that you get for free when you buy like the Black Friday sales. They come included in the combo pack. So I knew people would have them. That's why I had so many of them. Anyway, that's what I would say. Here's the next thing, some big old Barons. These things are pretty cool, kind of pricey, to be honest. But they're cool, they work good. These are for some of the coffee related items if you are curious. It is for one of the WDT tools for coffee to make sure that espresso grounds are evenly distributed. I just got 4 more. I'll buy more if I need to, but the nice thing with sourcing my parts is you can get them next day if you need to, for the most part, on Amazon. So I don't have to have a huge inventory stocked up. Let's see. Next question is, oh, actually, this is Jeff following up. I do multi-part assembly. Dimensional accuracy has not been an issue. Main item I use is threaded, and it has friction fit components. So are you saying you do threads within Blender? I'm assuming they do kind of have a tool for that, don't they? Even though it's more for like, you know, not dimensionally accurate stuff, but cool. So do you use any plugins on Blender as well for your dimensionally accurate parts? Because I know there's a, I don't even know what it's called, but there's a plugin to kind of make it like a parametric software. So that would be, I'm interested to hear more about that. Franco says, how do you track your orders and your prints? That's a good question. In my last week's video, I'm actually it's kind of the same way, but I need more places to store my prints at. Right now, they're just over on my wall over there. Whoop. So I'll take the packing slip, print that off, and then I will put it down on the table there, or over here, and then I will start stacking the parts that come off the printers over on the packing slips that they are associated with. It's not necessary to print out the packing slips, but that helps me keep track of things in a physical manner. And I sort it by newest orders to oldest orders to newest, because the old needs to go out first, right? So old in, out, what's the phrase? There's a term for it. So that's how I kind of keep track of it, and then I'll pack and ship. I need to free up a couple of those, or maybe 3 of them for orders, just because it's been a little hectic in here in this small spot. The other thing to that is Etsy has it on there. So if it's in through my shop, I would say, you know, it's really, I just use Etsy for the most part, because their dashboard on the back end is really easy to use. And then the last piece is the partnership with Germany. Thank you, Kaz. It's first in, first out. That's the phrase. Yeah, I knew there was some like really simple thing for it. Or FIFO. Wow, everyone's just got, is there a simpler way to say it than FIFO? Okay, anyway, sorry. The third part of that question, or answer to that question, is in my partnership with my partner in Germany, we have a massive Excel doc that took me like 3 months to build out the features we wanted. And there's still a couple things I'm tweaking. But that allows us to track the items from his Etsy shop into a shared Excel sheet. And then we've got a bunch of tools in there that allow us to figure out exact pricing of products, manufacturing costs, and then also shipping status, what's shipped. And then because of the way it's set up, really you just work off the order sheet, and then as things get marked as shipped, and I put in the tracking info and cost of shipping labels, it automatically calculates all of the cost of production, of shipping, and then spits out how much we made as a partnership, and where the money goes and who gets what. So that's pretty cool. That's been really helpful. But that's the third way that I kind of track my orders. Bro Creates says, I'm trying to increase my sales. Any tips? So my first question would, well, let's go from it two directions. First off, if you've not made a sale yet, patience is always a good tip. I got lucky with selling something in 10 days or so. But I would say, like, if you feel like it's been long enough and you're like, there's not a market for it, you could always try posting it somewhere else, and working on social media. This is true if you've made sales or not, but like, get on social media. Like I avoided it for years, and I've been trying to think, even because I've been working my career in the corporate world before, getting laid off last March or whatever, or April, was in digital advertising. And I have been for like 8 years trying to figure out, is there a way to sell and build a business that doesn't require social media? And I'll tell you what, unless you're doing something that is local, like very local, like I saw a truck driving around in my area that has a trailer designed to pick up your garbage bins and clean them. Cool business, by the way, but that's a very local thing. You don't really need social media for that per se, but it could help, right? So, that's one that you could do it without it, but it'd be really good with it to drum up some business. But get on social media, pick one. If you're doing like a cool consumer-based product, pick Instagram or TikTok. TikTok is a little up in the air because what if it goes away? The government keeps extending the deadline. So I'm hesitant to get on that platform because what if it does get turned off in the US? Likelihood is low, but what if it does? Then you lose all that work. And then start posting stuff, sharing the product and getting out with people. If you have a product that's just not selling, design a new product. That would be the second piece of it. Don't lean into one idea. Your first ideas are probably not your best ideas. So I'm still looking for that hit product, right? And I think I'm getting better and closer to something that I think could sell a lot. Sorry, we're spending a lot of time on this question, but I guess I just have a lot to say. I was doing some research and found that most consumer products typically only sell anywhere from 500 to 1,000 units. And I believe that's more for like for the 3D printed space. Let me actually look it up because I have the exact thing here. And I think it's important to keep this in mind. This is part of the page 2 on my where is it? Sorry, this is going to take me just a second. Worksheets. Okay, here we go. So this is page 2 on my idea launchpad, which is part of the Patreon. So if you're curious about that, you can check it out. But basically, don't expect to sell more than 500 to 1,000 units in the lifetime of a product. So that could be over many years. So because of that, your best way to make money is to continually design and get better and make new products. So that's really what I would focus in on. And you could follow the hype train. I know there's some following trends and stuff, but also unless you're setting trends, by the time the trends are through, or you're jumping into it, you're probably too late to the train anyway. So try to focus on solving problems, not following trends. And I'm not trying to call anybody out by saying this, but like the little flexi dragons, I would consider that a trend as well, especially for how many people are selling them. All right, Kyle asks, have you approached any companies on doing 3D prints for them? The answer is I've not approached anybody, but because of my YouTube channel, I have had people reach out to me asking for quotes. So I've not locked in. I've done one small manufacturing run for somebody, and then like very small, we're talking like less than 50 units, and did a design for them. And then it was something that they have a nonprofit, and they wanted some little things that they could sell with their name on it. So that way they could put that money back into the nonprofit. So I made a quick design for them. That was pretty easy. And they were really happy with that. So that was, you know, opportunity. I've not gone out and approached anyone, but I've had some people reach out because of the channel, which was an unintended benefit of getting on YouTube. Just people knowing what I have, what I do, get to learn about me, right? That's the relationship building part that is difficult in sales. So that is an entirely untapped market that I think it has a lot of potential. Especially if you're doing 3D printing. You could go to your local restaurants or other places and ask them what needs they have and see if there's like, what have you needed but you can't find a solution for, and try to work to build a solution. You could sell to them and potentially sell to somebody else. Okay, let's see here. Kaz says, everyone naming their puppies. I actually don't know the reference. Did I miss something in chat? Oh, FIFO. Maybe that is that, yeah. That could be a dog's name. Kaz says, patents is so hard. Patience is so hard. I listed my stuff 23 seconds ago and I'm not rich yet. Yeah, that's true. And patents as well, right? That's also interesting. I do get questions of like, how do I protect my stuff? And the answer is be the first mover. Unless you have just like a phenomenal idea and you have everybody around you, which is not always the right answer, but you have a lot of people around you telling you not to share it and keep it a secret, and you need to patent it and protect it. Oh, see, I knew there was something else in here that I did not order. Check this out, everybody. It's for my daughter. I did not buy this. I don't know who bought it for us, but it's a little... That's cool. It's a snail book. We like snails in this house, so I'll have to bring that upstairs. I like these kind of books. Patents are expensive. They're very expensive. They're very time consuming. So like I have no interest in doing a patent for any of my products at the moment, you know, and they also take upfront capital, right? And the whole point of this business model, and the reason I'm starting this way, and I chose this tool for my business, not something else like laser cutting or, you know, more of like a wood shop, is because of the cost of entry and capabilities without having to spend extra money. So that's why, you know, I would not do patents unless you have just something that you know absolutely needs one. Okay, let's see. Mike says, you must have found a special coffee bean that helps you produce all those great ideas. Maybe. I feel like out of all of my ideas, my partner's shop, his shop is much more successful than mine. But the success is shared too, right? Because I'm producing here in the US. But his products are just very cool. I mean, I've talked about it before on a video, but he's definitely inspired me to dive a little deeper on some of my aspects of 3D modeling and how to approach it. So I'm doing that, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, if there was a coffee bean, maybe they're magical legumes from The Office, if anyone knows that reference. Kaz, my wife does graphic design, and I'm always make several options for things, logo, because it's because the first is almost never hit. Yeah, especially in graphic design, man. If you're doing any type of creative work and you're collaborating with people, I mean, I've had this experience for years. I remember doing a logo design for somebody, and I had like 10 options, and I was like, this one's my fave. I think it looks sweet. And then they went with the boring option. So yeah, definitely. It's always an interesting. It's always interesting working on a client client relationship with creative work. It's challenging. Kaz, you ask, how can you talk about how much you charge? And blah, 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 blah. Hold on a second. Let me back up. Kaz asks, can you talk about how much you charged and made working with that nonprofit? Yeah. So with the nonprofit, they reached out and said, hey, we want to do like a coffee scoop. We see you make a coffee scoop. We have some that were made and we don't like the quality. Can you help us? And they sent me pictures, and I said, oh, I know exactly why the quality doesn't work. where the errors that they made with the design for 3D printing were. I can fix that, and I can design you a better coffee scoop. It would take me just an evening. So I said, let's do this. You know, how much are you paying already per scoop? And that was part of it too, because they were a nonprofit and they were giving back to, they're giving the money back to their local like fire department and stuff, and veterans. I was like, you know, I have the time, so I'm just going to do it at the same cost. So I think it ended up being like $2.50 or $3 a coffee scoop at the end of the day. I could fit, now I think I can fit, like, if I did another run for them, I could do maybe close to 10 or 10 on a plate, 8 to 10 on a plate. And we did a run of like 60. So you can do the math. It was like, I think with the design work and everything, it ended up being like maybe $100 or so, with the understanding that as they sell out, they might want some more. I actually need to reach back out to that person and see if they want another run or not. But yeah, I think the trickiest thing, and people are very shocked by this, I think unless you find a way to waive the design fee, I think there's a really big misunderstanding of 3D printing, because like right now 3D printing, and I've seen some videos popped up on my feed of people like bashing 3D printing, and they're like, this just makes garbage, which, you know, based on how the industry has worked on portraying itself, I can kind of agree that a lot of the stuff made with 3D printers ends up in a landfill. And I think that's what's cool about, or not what's cool, but I think there's an opportunity there to like really help people learn that no, it can be much more than that. It's really just based on what you make it. But because of that, it seems like you could just make anything, right? You can, oh, you got a 3D printer? Then here's my idea, go make it. And it's really not that simple. And people don't understand that at all. These are not the right size. If you're curious, this is my other thing. I probably need to return these. Yeah, those are ginormous. Okay, I'll have to make an order for that tonight because I need those. I'll need those very quickly. So, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so when pricing your product or your work for people, it is difficult for them to swallow the fact and the cost of the design piece, because it takes a very specific skill set to understand the 3D modeling and to understand how to do it for 3D printing, and then to be able to understand the manufacturing piece of it with the 3D printer. Because you guys know there's some nuances to 3D printing that are not straightforward. And all of that together, I think, is a cool package, but people often are surprised by what it actually costs somebody of your time to do some type of work. And I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit true across the board. In all markets right now, everybody's got a little bit of sticker shock, but at the same time, like, your boy's got to eat. So like, this is how much it costs. So don't undersell yourself either, because you need to put food on the table. Cass says, bro, I'm a girl dad and it's the best ever. I can agree with that. It's pretty awesome. Donahoe, good point on here. Says, patents are useless unless you have deep pockets to enforce it. That is also true. I mean, and to be honest, like, China has been ripping off patents and products all day long, like Temu and all those other platforms, Amazon as well. You know, they see your good idea and then they'll just make it themselves. So, Clayton, thank you. Aloha from Hawaii. Please smash that like button. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys are new here and you like what's going on, feel free to like and subscribe. Does help out. Clayton, I hope everything's all good. When the earthquake happened on the shore of Russia, I was like really worried for Hawaii, because it sounded, you know, it was such a big earthquake, but it sounded like the waves weren't nearly as big as they thought they might be. So, but you would know better than I would. Let's see. Next question is Braden. Patents are more useful for licensing, not really protecting. That's a good point as well. Yes, that's a good point. Jeff says, started my Etsy mid-July, beat $300 sales goal. $300 sales goal I set for myself in the first month. Thinking about an LLC. I've separated income so far, but haven't filed anything worth it or wait on it. as long as you're setting aside the money for taxes, so 30% of that income that you're getting into your bank account, as long as you're setting that aside, again, not a financial advisor or tax person, it's not going to hurt you to wait. And with the business filing, you have to not re-register. I forgot the word is, but you have to like verify you're still a business every year, and that costs a little bit of money. Not much. Like we're talking where I live, like $30 or less. So maybe wait till the new year and then do it. I mean, I went a whole year without having the official LLC. So I don't think it's a big deal. The one thing will be is if you're really leaning on your business name, all right, and you're using that in the work you're doing, do the research, because maybe the business name is already taken in your jurisdiction. So you might want to check that out. I know if you're in Michigan, you can check on Lara. There's a way to look up if a business name is taken, so you can like do some research that way. Let's see here. Next question. Work the trigger. As someone that uses 3D printing as a manufacturing style, I hate it when people say 3D printing market. It's not a market, it's a manufacturing style. The market is cheapo gimmick toys. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. I will say you can make some long-lasting stuff, like all of these 3D printed wargaming minis and stuff. This one's all painted up, but these are all 3D printed on a 0.2 nozzle on the Bamboo A1 Mini. But those will stick around for years, right? Like my kids will be like, wow, your dad's a nerd one day with that type of stuff. So I would say that's like, I guess that's not a gimmicky toy, but there's a lot of stuff like the Flexi toys are just really not durable. And that goes back to my bins. Let's see if I have an empty one here. This guy, right? Like these pegboard bins work really good for me. And I think they work good for other people. That's why I sell them for like the pack for $5. But I know as like a manufacturing and selling these little pins here, although durable if you know what you're doing, are a source of breaking and potentially would lead to a lot of returns and refunds and bad reviews on this shop. So that's why I don't sell this as a physical product. And that goes back to one of my other strategies with my shop. If you guys are investing a bunch of time into designing 3D products and you're modeling and doing all that work and you make a design that works well, but you just go, I don't think I can turn this into a physical product. Like it just doesn't make sense for me to sell because of assembly or something like that, where it potentially could break because the person's being too rough with it. Then offer it as an STL file, right? Or put it on MakerWorld and get some credit, street credit or whatever. I mean, all of my stuff that's up on MakerWorld, I've got like 4 things on there. I mean, I've almost got $80 in credit back to Bamboo's website, and I'm just going to save it and maybe one day buy another printer with it. You know, so that's definitely cool. You know, don't get rid of the designs that don't turn into products, but you know, turn them into something free for the community on MakerWorld or other platforms, or sell them. Let's see here. Next one is Kyle asks, do you do anything with your filament poop? I'm thinking of buying a mold for small keychains to include with purchases. Do you have any ideas around this? That's an interesting idea. I'm assuming when you say mold, you're talking about like actually like squishing and melting the plastic into a mold to sell as little giveaways with your products. That's a cool idea. Right now, I just put all of it in a box. I have multiple boxes at this point. And with the intent, because I basically just use PLA, the intent would be to then ship that into, forgot the company name, but they recycle it and turn it back into recycled filament that you can buy. And I think they give you a discount on their filament if you send stuff in. I've not done that, but I think I have to pay to send it to them. So good on them for the business model, but I've just waited, and that's why I've just got a couple boxes going of all of my little poops and failed prints and prototypes that didn't work out to be anything. So that's where it's at the moment. Technical Tinkers, welcome to the channel. Glad you can make it if you're still in here. Another 3D print YouTuber you can check out over on his channel. But thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. Loon Fingerboards. What is the best way to make good products to sell on Etsy? Start designing and then upload it. I feel like that's a little bit of a broad question. because I think the best way to do it is by doing it, which is a dumb answer. I know it's a dumb answer, but again, there's like the people who are going to have success online at all with selling products are the ones coming up with an idea and saying, I think I can make that, testing it out and trying to sell it. You will never know what the market wants until you put it up for sale and people tell you yes or no with their wallets. So the quicker you can start doing that, the better you'll start getting at all of the other work. And then over time, you'll get a better sense of, will this product sell or will this product not sell? So that's what I think. I'm going to skip some questions here because Loon, I just see you asked a follow-up question. What should you do if you can't figure out any ideas? I'll give you two answers. I'll give you the answer to get you down the road first, and then I'll give you maybe some additional thoughts. The first answer is go use ChatGPT. If you really feel stuck and you really, really can't come up with an idea, go connect with other people like you and just talk about stuff. Or go on one of the ChatGPT tools and say, here's some of my hobbies. Can you help me think of ideas of things that I could make? I do that sometimes. I don't want to always rely on that because I think you're taking some shortcuts in your creative process when you do that. My other solution, I would say, is if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, it's because you're not bored. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to even think about them. And this is not picking on you. I struggle with this. This is, I think, a kind of everybody in culture right now. It is so easy just to be on this, right? And just scrolling and feeding in. Even you guys watching me right now, right? You could turn this off and you could just go work on designing some products, right? Or you could go for a walk without anything. Just go for a walk, no music, no phone, just go for a walk. And just think, giving yourself time to think, space to think, and space to be bored is what allows your mind to wander and come up with those ideas. So that's the more difficult, but I would say in the grand scheme of humanity, that is probably the best way to go. And I think in the future too. Okay, let's see here. Daniel Wilson, scalability, one word in chat, and I agree with you. I'm not sure what it was in relation to, but I do agree with you. Scalability. Make sure that's part of your product design process. Jeff, honestly can't thank you enough for all the advice you have done. I have given this community because of you. I've been able to stay at my full-time job. Because of you, I've been able to stay at my full-time job, but quit the evening bartending and do this instead. That is sweet. That is so cool. So now you get to spend time at home, presumably with friends and stuff. And if you have some good friends, sometimes friends want to hang out and do this stuff too. So like, I jokingly say free labor, right? But yeah, I would do the same if my buddy's running something. I'd be like, hey, I'll come help you pack orders or do whatever. That's really cool. I missed a question. Kaz, you said have your dad jokes improved since your baby has arrived. The answer to that is no. They haven't. They're still equally bad, which I think, that's what they're supposed to be to some extent. I'll have years to test them out to their detriment. Let's see here. Kyle asks, if you're trying to be a solution-based store, look at what issues you're facing in your house. Yes. Yep. That's another great way too. Chris asks, for orders, do you disclose issues that could happen with PLA? Warping, possible breaking. I feel normal end users may not be possible downfalls and limitations of 3D printing. The answer to that is I don't. And the reason why is because I don't sell products that succumb to those issues. So what I mean, let's tackle the two pieces of that. We just went through the breaking on the pegboards, right? So I sell those as a digital file for people who want to use them and can just reprint off a new one if they're too rough with them, right? So I've already identified where the 3D printing is weak and is a good product, but not as a physical product. Not to mention you just can't compete with these types of products on the market for just like straight bins. If you're doing physical, that's a whole different discussion. But so that's number one. And number two is I don't sell any products that are designed to be used outdoors. So the heat warping issue really doesn't come into play with my product set. If I design something that needs to be used outdoors, I really probably would switch to PETG or something, or like the new high temp PLA from Polyterra or whoever it was. I have a roll over there. Because then you won't have any issues. So I don't put any warnings on it for that reason. It really comes making sure that you're using the right material for the designed purpose. And also, if you're designing things that are too fragile for 3D printing, 3D printing is not the right solution. So I wouldn't sell those products either. Which goes back to the whole Flexi Dragons things, which is interesting because the mechanisms inside those little Flexi toys are so delicate. Like, I don't know, I've seen the way my daughter plays with toys. It's sometimes a wonder that wood toys stay together. So I'd be, give her a plastic 3D printed toy and it's for sure going to break. All right. Another Chris, CAD with Chris, says, what's your favorite CAD program and why is it SolidWorks? That's a loaded question. It's not SolidWorks. I've never used SolidWorks. I will say, if you work at SolidWorks and are asking that question for a reason, send me a license so I can test it. I checked the pricing just the other day for SolidWorks and immediately was, I just can't do it, because for me to spend like $1,000 for a commercial license or whatever it was, just isn't in the wheelhouse for me. And I think that's true of the community as well. I feel like a lot of these businesses really need to give you a little bit more time to get into the software, to understand and be able to scale with people. Like, for instance, like if you have such a good software that will really make like a life-changing whatever impact for their business, then you would almost want to like give it to them for free at the beginning, and then as they grow, especially for the startup, scale with them until they get to that full payment amount. I don't know. That's the anti-cap. That's not how companies are going to do it, but I don't know, just some creative ideas. And you probably don't work there. But the one I do use is Shaper 3D. In light of that question, let me actually open, let me get over here, and then I can open some of the other things I've got up for today. That's the Idea Launchpad. We actually need to switch over. Where to go? We need to switch over just to a new document. Did that work? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's see. GS Films, please, I really want some help. You are great, and I have helped me already, but there's a couple tips. All right, hold on, let me see. There are a couple of tips, like how many orders should I get in from the first month? I would expect 0 orders your first month. That's like really not the answer I know you want to hear. But in retail, if you go into retail, which selling digital products online is retail business, if you live by the day-to-day sales, you're really going to be stressed out. And that's just me, trying to give you some pretty straightforward advice. Not always fun advice, but sets you up well for the long haul, right? What I would say is don't expect any sales. If you get some sales, it's fantastic. If you're not getting sales, what I would say is start working on another product. You might just need to work on a new product because maybe that one isn't the one to go. I mean, I have several products on my shop that have sold one item, and they've been up for months, even though I have a shop that gets traffic. So it's really hit or miss with the products. And I think Etsy specifically does a good job of pairing products with the right consumers. So if it's not aligning, if the stars are not aligning, it's time to get back on the train of building new designs and working on that type of stuff. Get creative, stay creative, and always be working on the next thing. If something I've had challenge with is getting stuck, not being proactive. So just kind of coasting, and that's where you'll lose momentum. You really need to keep adding stuff. Because again, you're probably not going to get more than 500 to 1,000 sales with some of your best products over the course of the lifetime of that product. With that knowledge, the only way to make long-term money is to design many things. Okay. Broken Flame Games. What are some of the ideas in a tabletop scene to really stand out? I'm not going to tell you. Sorry. I am in the process of launching a board game shop, and I have some products actually right in front of me, but I'm not going to show you guys. And the reason why is because I want that first mover advantage. One thing I will say, and this is maybe something I've thought about doing, but I'm not sure I'm going to do, is I've got a whole bunch of board games, right? So like open up all of those board games. The number one thing that stands out to me is how poorly designed the packaging inside the boxes are. And I have previously, for the game Scythe, bought something called, well, it's from the Broken Token, which does laser cut wood, like the little thin wood, trays that makes all the components fit really nicely. And it works with all the upgraded like metal coins and all the cool stuff, right? So maybe just look through your existing board games that are popular. So like get them all out, list them, take all the games that you have, and maybe just take a photo of it, pop it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, out of all these games I own, what are the best sellers? What have sold the most amount of copies of these games? And then have it rank it for you. And then what I would say is go through those and just start with the most popular products. So like Catan, right? There's so many Catan games out there. If you make something cool, you know, there's a chance there because people like Catan. Or Ticket to Ride. You know, those aren't necessarily my favorite games, but I know they're really popular. So go ahead and start looking at that. Look at the components, see if you could upgrade any of them or add something cool. If maybe you could do some organization. Maybe you have some games. I know everybody likes House Rules, right? Maybe do a board game shop called House Rules, which probably is taken. That name is probably taken. But it looks like you have a name, Broken Flame Games, and make like little house rule sheets, right? Like make your house rules a modified game version and sell that as like a digital thing that you could download for $5 and use the house rules. That's actually a good idea. I might do that. And we could both do that and have completely different products. Unique stuff. So sorry, I'm not going to share the physical products I'm working on now because I really do want to launch the shop. But I will say that is a good place to start. Let's see, next question. And then I'm going to show you guys this before time runs out. We've just been having such a good chat session here. Curtis says, I just sold 1 or 2 in my first month, then I found a product that sells 1 per day. That's sweet. It's driven traffic to other items and gotten people asking for designs for other products. That's fantastic. Yeah, congratulations. Kaz, yes, I played Dominion. That was a great game. That was one I was thinking about house rules for. So I think I missed a question earlier. This thing right here is actually a soldering iron, a battery-powered soldering iron. Really great for heat-threaded inserts because you just hold down this button and it heats up within like 7 seconds. I am not sponsored, so I'll hide the name. But yeah, little handy thing. I'm not a fan of the stand, but this is convenient. Anyway, I know I missed that question earlier. Okay, let's dive through some of this. I'll keep an eye out for other questions. Casper, let's go through your question while we're kind of going through some of this. Yes, it is worth selling something that's already on the market, but make it a little different or better. Don't sell the exact same thing because then customers will be like, which one's cheaper? And you don't want to play the price game because you will always lose. Just remember that you will always lose the price game. End of story. Someone bigger than you will always swoop in, or somebody who's not even started will swoop in, have the means, and outpace you and beat you. So do not play the price game. Okay, so this software here that I am using is Affinity software. It is a almost one-to-one equivalent with Adobe Illustrator, but it is not Adobe. I don't talk bad about other companies, except for Adobe. I do not like Adobe. I don't like their business practices. They have a fantastic software that's it. They have a fantastic software, but I do not like anything else about the business. This company is a one-time use. You buy it once, you have it forever. It's fantastic. I'm not sponsored. I just like their brand a lot. And I have bought licenses for other people and friends and family in the past because I think it's that worth it. that was quite a sales pitch. My wife said I should go back into sales every once in a while, but like getting a sales job for something you're really passionate about is really hard. So, okay, what I want to show you today is a way to take a sketch, a SVG, or what's it called? Anyway, a sketch that we're going to do in here that is to scale into a modeling software so we can use it. For me, Shaper 3D does not have the ability to import an SVG file, which is a vector format. That's the word I was looking for, a vector. So it's really important to be able to get that, but they don't have the feature. But I found a way to get it in there that keeps the vector format. So let's do this. We're going to make a circle, and we're going to make this 120, and we'll lock it millimeters. So I've already set up the document to be in millimeters and all that stuff. Yes, Kyle, thank you. It is vector art. My mind was like just fried, apparently. We'll go ahead and make this. What I found is you actually have to make sure it's a stroke, not a solid object. So we can see that's a line, and we'll make it just like one. Cool, so we have a circle. That's fancy. Now let's do this. So the reason why this is even valuable, right? Because Shaper 3D, you can put text in and you can draw. But what you can't do is something like that, right? Like that, like let's do a wave. This kind of looks like the Grand Rapids logo, if you guys look that up. So we have this like cool like logo here. That's cool. So let's go ahead and grab this. And we're just going to grab, oh, is it not going to do that? Go that and that. There we go. So we just made a new shape with this, and we can hide those other two. So we have that. We do want our circle, so that's nice. Someone says, I miss the name of the software. It is Affinity Designer. Affinity is the name of the company. They are ex-Adobe engineers who like left the company and like, we're making our own thing, and they did, and it's cool. All right, so this software is just designed for this type of work, whereas the 3D modeling software is not designed for what I just did. It's also not designed for what I'm about to do. So this is a really cool feature. I like it a lot, right? So you can like wrap text. This is like standard stuff for this type of software. So this is not fancy in itself, right? But what is cool, like let's go and do bungee. That looks nice. Let's make it a little smaller again. We like this. This looks cool. This is what we want, right? Let's scale this down a little bit. Boo. Bear with me, everybody. This has a point. This is related to 3D printing, I promise. We say, wow, this is a really cool logo. I really want this in my... I really want this design that Chris did because it looks so nice. I would love to have this as an actual thing I can 3D print. I don't know why you'd want that, but just bear with me. We're going to go to layer and do the last thing here. This, again, is not super related, but now everything in here is vector. So let's go and just make sure this is a stroke 1 and color. Cool. I'm just going to go ahead and export this. You probably can't see, but what I'm going to export, I don't think you guys can see the actual thing. There is another file format, and this is the key takeaway, called DXF, and I believe it's used for like engineering and architectural purposes, but it uses vector format. So I can export this document as a vector format, and I am doing that in the background, but I just understand, I just exported this right here, all this beautiful stuff we just did as a vector format. Now let's go ahead and open Shaper. And for anybody, you know, if the Shaper team is on here, they should really know that SVG should be the format that this works with. But yeah, boy, I found a workaround. Okay, we're going to go into here, go to Add, File, and I'm going to select. Where did it go? Classic. You ever do that where you like export something and you don't know what folder it goes into? Happens. Test 5. Okay. We're going to go to File, and we're going to add that image and get ready. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Again, I know this is a feature in some other modeling softwares, but for anybody who uses Shaper 3D, and this has been like a bane of your existence, we now have the actual mesh in here. I can manipulate it. We can click extrude. We can, not that. That was not what I wanted to do. Classic Chris doing this stuff live. We can extrude it all. Look it. And you can manipulate it however you want. So I just wanted to show everybody this. This was like a big breakthrough for me in the last like day or so, because I have a product that needs to have some custom designs on here. And on all of my products, I need like a custom logo. I need some of that stuff. And with Shaper 3D, which is my software of choice, it's just not been possible up to this point. And now with this, I can do all of my graphic design and create all the cool looking stuff and merge that with functional prints that I have already in here and set up with parametric tools and all that jazz. So really happy about that, but I want to just give you guys that little insight. That's my little, secret takeaway. Maybe I should send that to Shaper. They should actually send me $1 for that. That's okay. Let's see if I missed some other questions in here. Nick says, I'm with you on losing the price game, but I sell some of the same things others sell, but thankfully with a longer store history and positive reviews, I get a lot of orders for those. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is, right, like if you have a product out and then other people start copying you or making the same thing, that's a little different because you're a first mover, right? And you have the credibility in the marketplace to be able to continue to sell that. So that's I think, definitely a strength, and one reason not to worry so much about if other people are selling it. But if you're designing it on your own, the chances it's going to be exact to somebody else's is already really low. So just understand that too. One channel says, this is how I start designing all of my 3D prints and stuff for CAD. So you do all of your work in like Affinity or some type of vector art, and then you move it over. Be interested to see what you say there, but that's kind of cool. Oh, they're nice. See, look at it. This helped somebody. Glad it could help. I mean, when I saw that, I was literally like blown away. I was like, I finally figured it out. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for me to figure out how to do that. It's going to actually unlock a lot of potential product opportunity for me. Kyle says, have you used Fusion 360? I've never heard of Shaper, but I'm open to trying it if it's quicker and easier to use. I have used Shaper or Fusion 360 for about a half hour until it ran like dog on my computer, and I've never used it again. I know it's a powerful software. I think it's just not optimized for the base M1 MacBook, which is what I have. I have the MacBook Pro. It's like the base M1 with 8 gigs of RAM, and it's just not optimized. I know with a more powerful computer, it can run really well. But again, for what I'm doing and what I think most people here are doing, a tool like Fusion 360 or some of those others are just such overkill for what you actually need. It has a lot of bloat with the software. The one thing that it has that really makes Shaper look stupid, which again, Shaper, if you're listening, please add this. You can have the threading feature, so you can actually make threads directly in the software with just a bunch of settings. It's like a little thing you can click on. So that is nice. I wish Shaper had that, because right now I have to physically model, and there's a way to do it in Shaper, but it's annoying. Shaper 3D though is optimized. Super optimized program. It is zippy fast. It works phenomenal. It's very push and pull in the way that SketchUp used, or still is, but again, they were bought out. But how SketchUp, you could like grab a face and say, I want to pull it this way, and it's just really easy and intuitive to use. That's why I like it, and it's also cheap. If you buy it for a year, it's less than $300 for the subscription. And as somebody who's just getting in to 3D modeling and wanted to pay for a more premium software and not use one of the free ones, it was a really good price point, and still is a good price point to get started. So I definitely like that. Anton says, how many printers do you need to keep running to pay yourself a living wage? That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't know what the printer amount is, but I can give you like a rundown on maybe a good way to think about it. What I would say is, if you build products, try to price them in a way that at a minimum you take home $10 per print. So I don't think I have an example. Oh, maybe I do. This guy. This is my hopper upgrade. And I have this one. I reprinted it because this is supposed to be in the back. But anyway, this product, I take home, I believe actually more than $10. I take home over $10. So when I sell this product, I get to actually put that money into my bank, theoretically. Right now, it's gone back into the business to buy more printers. But at the end of this month will be the first month that I could maybe take money out, I think. But anyway, we'll talk more about that, especially at the year-end recap for how the business did, which will be in 2026. That's kind of crazy. But if everything you make could sell for $10 or bring you home $10 in profit, then you can kind of extrapolate how many items you'd have to sell, how many printers you'd have to have based on how many you can fit on a build plate, and etc. That is how I would price out your products. That is how I would figure out how many printers you need too. I just talked with somebody, or when I say talk with them, they put it in chat. I believe it was in my last video. They said in a 10-foot by 10-foot space, so bigger than my area, they have 4 Bamboo P1Ss and they're doing about $60K a year. And I did not ask if that was gross revenue, so like top line before taxes and all that stuff, or if that was their take home. But that, definitely cool. The other piece of that too is you can actually make a lot more. You can make a lot more on your products if they solve really annoying problems, or they just have more complex features that make them unique, right? So you can actually, I would say the $10 estimate is low, right? So go ahead and try to design products that you can maybe make $20 per sale, because the margins on 3D printing are really high, right? Like I think the limitations on your margin or your amount you can make per sale is really based on your own creativity. It's hard to do, but yes, that is my very long-winded answer. Let's see. Curtis asked, how is the profit per item going? Fantastic. It is going good. My shop, I'm still working on it, but I mean, across everything, it's still like 20 to 30 bucks per sale that I work on. I mean, the sale I made yesterday, I don't know how much time went into it because I sold 8 units and I had to print all of them. But I made good money on that. Like the one sale I made, after all of my work went in, and it took like a couple of days because just print time pretty much, and switching over prints and then packing all those orders individually, because I didn't know if it was, I packed all the items individually, right? So it was 8 units ordered, but I didn't just put 8 units in a box. I made each one as if they were an individual unit in the box, because that's how I would want it received. So I probably spent more time on it than I had to, depending on how they were going to use them. But maybe like 80 bucks of profit take home on that sale. So that's cool. And that helps. Those bigger ones help offset the smaller ones too. Curtis says, is that $10 including estimated ad spend? Yeah, you should try to price that in as well. That one's really tricky. That one just takes experimentation to figure that out. Let's see here. Jeff says, I have some prints that are $10 a print, but I also sell the prints with a press fit magnets and multi-packs that average $2 in magnets after cost, print and build plates times. Yeah, some of the products I sell and we sell, can run up to $20 to make. Like actual cost of electricity, printer time, parts, materials, filament, they can take up to 20 bucks. So it's, that's definitely a piece of it. Anton says, I feel like margins are always pretty small. I feel like make 50% in the BD space, but safe prices around $10 per item. Maybe. So 50% margins in the retail space, people would die for those margins. So we want to keep that in perspective too. we make phenomenal margins as 3D printers on our products if you price right. So, you know, I would actually shoot for closer to 70% margins. That's kind of the goal. But that comes with really understanding good use of time, batch work, batch producing items and all that jazz. And oh my gosh, it's 4 p.m. already. Let's go ahead and answer a couple last questions here and then wrap it up. Rumble says, is the YouTube creator aspect of your business a significant amount of income for me? Nope. It makes about $500 a month across all of my YouTube, like all the stuff that's from YouTube, Patreon, and ad revenue is about like $500. So no, it's not a substantial piece. And again, that goes right back into the business. I don't even really take that. It goes just back into the business, and I reinvest that money to continue to build out stuff. So yeah, let's see here. Okay, I think that's actually all the questions. Cool. Reminders, everybody. Next videos or videos are on the weekends, so definitely feel free to check those out. I am trying to get on schedule. I'm going to try to do 5 videos a month going forward, so don't hold me to it, but that's the goal. I'm doing 4 at the moment. Kind of 4 recaps, and then trying to do like one video that's more specific. So like weekly updates and then a specific video on things. Maybe some cinematic cool build stuff, I don't know. And then shorts and whatnot. If you guys want to check out my Patreon or want to support me doing the YouTube side of stuff, which is really become its own business, you can check out my Patreon. There are some stuff on there to help you out with your business. And really just help me put out these videos and kind of spend the time here on Wednesdays with you guys with these live streams. Thanks again for being here. I will be back up next Wednesday with another live stream. If you have more questions, feel free to comment below after the video's over, and I'll see you guys around. Thanks again. Appreciate everybody as always.